It is now 8:05. With us, I have joining us Vice Chair Giovanni Rodriguez, Councilor at Large Ana Levy, Councilor from District C, Gregory De Rosario. Before we begin, I will read the following. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. I remind that persons that would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person here at City Hall or go to our Facebook and YouTube website. Before we begin, if you can join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Council, there are no minutes for approval, so we will go on to new business. Item 153-22, update of LPS contract with cafeteria workers. It was put on by myself. Are there any motions?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to send correspondence to the Lawrence Public Schools in regard to the contract for the cafeteria workers.
Councilor Rodriguez, if would you mind also amending it so to send correspondence to the unions as well?
Of course, yes.
So there is a motion to send correspondence to Lawrence Public Schools, so the superintendent's office, and the unions representing the cafeteria workers to come to the next Budget Safety Committee meeting to discuss the LPS contract with the cafeteria workers and to educate this committee on that.
All right, and by the way, there is three different unions.
Okay.
We take note of that. That is, they have three different unions, so to all of the unions.
I will second that motion.
This motion has been seconded by Councilor De Rosario. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. Councilors, is there a motion? For that, Councilor Rodriguez, are you looking for anyone within LPS to come speak to us, or anyone? Okay. Is there a motion to table 153-22?
So move.
Second.
There was a motion by Councilor Rodriguez to table that. It was seconded by Councilor Levy. All those in favor of tabling item 153-22, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving forward to item 168-22, appropriation transfer from free cash, fire suppression overtime, $300,000. We have Fire Chief Brian Moriarty here. Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, councilors. Thank you. It's that time of year where we try to square out our budgets so we can get the end of the year going, move from one account to the other to where we even out and to see where we fell short. Unfortunately, this year, our overtime has been extremely high, as well as, in my belief, underfunded to begin with. But after moving some money from some accounts to help fill in the end, we find we have a deficit of just under $300,000. But I asked for $300,000 because of the unexpected things, such as the fire we had this afternoon, or the 4 fires we've had in the last 4 days. We had a 2-alarm fire Sunday, we had a 3-alarm fire today, we had a working fire last night and a working fire Saturday night. So those kind of things are unexpected expenses, so that's why we asked for it a little bit more. But it's going to be a very tight squeeze, even with the $300,000. I know that we're going to have to move other money and have Mr. Iannello's assistance with budget closing time and to find other departments that might have a little cash to help put us in and end our redness and make it all black. So essentially, that's why I'm here, asking for money.
Thank you, Mr. Chief. Chief Moriarty. Just a quick question. So 300,000. How does that amount to hours work?
I couldn't tell you. Honestly, I don't even look at it that way. We look at it as pay periods, how much we pay each pay period, and we're actually gonna apologize, my mouth's a little tired today. Predicted to be approximately 454,000 in the red for overtime. We were given 950,000. It's going to be closer to 1.4 million that we'll spend to keep everything operating. And there's no fluff in that. I don't beef up crews just to beef them up. I've cut back since I took over that when we go mutual aid, we have to send 2 trucks mutual aid before we staff a truck. But unfortunately, we've had a very busy fire year. We've had a lot of sickness, a lot of illness, and we are quite up there in the overtime. But as I had mentioned, there was other accounts where we were able to take money out of. We also, this year, had 7 openings that I carried for, well, I'm still carrying 1, and it took us forever to get them filled. The civil service process, the PATs, the physicals, to get anybody hired and after the interviews and to get them hired. It just took us a good 6 months. And that cost, when they're not there to fill the seat, I got to hire overtime. So we brought it down from the 450 down to, it was like 298, I can tell you exactly, sorry. We brought it down to 281. And so but again, fire Sunday, 2 alarms today, 3 alarms, that costs us extra money. We have firefighters get called back, they held out overtime, the investigations, so we rounded up to the 300,000, and that's still gonna be tight.
Thank you. Just one last question, I'll open up
Yes, sir.
other counselors. Director Ianello, can you let us know how much free cash we currently have? Long day, Chief. No worries. No, I know we were supposed to start earlier.
Our free cash our free cash before this transfer is 15,047,450. After this transfer, if the council approves the transfer, we would have 14,747,000.
Thank you. Councilors, are there any questions or motions?
I have a question.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming up today. Before, when we have, last year, we have a similar transfer from free cash to overtime. What was the amount that we have last time?
Mark, do you remember what we asked last year?
We had, last year we had, let me get my finger here, we had 350 for overtime and $100,000 for salary, so it was a total of 450,000 last year.
And that was during fiscal year 2022, right?
Last year.
That was FY '21.
That was fiscal year 2021.
Fiscal year 2021 was we're in 22 now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So last year, but that was before June.
Yes.
Okay. So after July 1st, 2021, so fiscal year 2022, we didn't have any transfer because I kind of remember like back in probably November or something.
We didn't transfer this year into our budget. No, this is the
No,
first time I've
okay,
been here.
okay.
Last year, as Mr. Ianello just quoted, we did.
Okay. I just was
It's been a
confused.
blur.
as
The
to-
last 2 years have been a blur.
Yeah, I know. So, and I remember that you present in a spreadsheet as of how you were going to spend that money, that $350,000 in overtime, and the $100,000 as well. So, do you have similar spreadsheet as to show us like?
It's all gonna go to our overtime.
Yeah, but I mean, how you spend the overtime account, kind of
Yes,
like how we do that?
I did not have that prepared because we had the fire. I was gonna print it up this afternoon. I can email that to you, if
Yes,
that's acceptable.
Yes, yeah, of course. It's definitely acceptable. Make sure that you email it to us
Yes, I will.
and the entire city council
Yep.
members, so we can have it for next meeting. We can have proper questions.
I can bring hard copies if you want and give it to your secretary so you all have it.
Yeah, definitely. Just send it to us by email, and that way we have it ahead of time.
I can do that. have a breakdown of how we've spent our overtime, yes.
Yeah. Also, I would like to know, like, are we budgeting right this year?
Not in my opinion. I'm sure people will disagree with me, Mr. Iannello might disagree with me, but I asked for 1.3 million for the last 3 years in a row, and I've gotten 950,000. So, in my opinion, no, but we live with what we get. We stay as tight and keep the belt cinched as tight as we can, and if we make it through the year, great. If not, we have to come here at the end. It does prevent overspending, but I don't allow overspending for overtime anyways. I don't, like I said, I don't beef up and hire just because we have money. I don't do that. None of us do. We have a minimum staffing of 24 people, and yet there's a lot of vacation. This year, there were a lot of vacancies, which now are filled except for one, but then 3 weeks after I hired a guy, he left in the military for a year. So even though the vacancy's not there, he's not there either. So we had that issue. We had a lot of sick. I mean, sick for the last 2 years has been on everybody's issue.
Yeah. And how many guys we have that are in the same situation as the one that you just mentioned?
In the
That are
military?
in the military, yeah.
But right now, I have 2 that are gone right now, but I've had 3 at one time gone. Right now, I have 2. One's been gone over 2 years. One just left. He's going to go for the year. I don't know when the one that's been gone for 2 years is going to come back. I've had 4 or 5 of them that have been serving the country overseas for a year at a time. The military's hit us hard in the last couple of years. I mean, we need it, and I thank them for their service. I'm a veteran, but it does have an effect on our budget.
Follow-up,
No more
Councilor Rodriguez?
questions. No, I
Okay,
have no more questions.
thank you. Any other councilors have any questions? Councilor De Rosario.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your do shift, and I know it has been a horrible week for all of us here. What was the number that you said that you budget on for the last 3 years?
I've been asking for 1.3 million. Last year, we got 950,000.
And do you think that if we ever get that amount to you, that will cover you throughout the years? Like,
I'd be a lot closer than I am this year. And this year, we did go over, but we had other money that we were able to move in to help cover it, so that would help.
and what was the most that you've been getting in the budget?
950,000 was the most I got. That was last year.
Thank you. No more questions.
Seeing that there's no questions, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
So there's a motion by Councilor Rosario to send this to the full council.
Oh,
with favor-
motion to send to
favorable-
the full council with favor recommendation.
There's a motion, is a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much, councilors.
Thank you. Councilors, can I get a motion to take item 77 -22 out of order and out of tabled? So there's a motion to take item 77-22, order to expend grant funds, Lawrence Cultural
77,
Council
granted.
grant for $3,000 put on by Julissa Peru, the Library Acting Assistant Director. So there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
You made the motion, Councilor Levin.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor De Rosario. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. The ayes have it. Hello, if you could introduce yourself to us.
Good evening, council members. My name is Julissa Perot, and I'm the Assistant Director at the Lawrence Public Library as of April of this year. So I am in front of you today to ask for the grant funds to be voted upon and passed, because the purpose of this grant is to provide access for educational, arts, and cultural institutions for patrons to at little or no cost. And the use of the grant funds is to purchase museum passes, zoo, DCR park passes as well, and aquarium passes. And so we ask that the council members vote on this item and allow us to spend these monies. It's a grant that we have, that we apply for every year, and we get every year from the Lawrence Cultural Council.
Thank you. I think we have the director here as well. If you mind introducing yourself as well.
Thank you, Councilman Payano. I appreciate the introduction. I'm here in support of my assistant director as we are seeking to provide these cultural passes for our patrons, and we're looking for your support today to do so.
Thank you so much. Can you just say your name and address for the record?
Absolutely. Janelle Abreu, my address is, my work address, which I hope you will visit, is 51 Lawrence Street, Lawrence, Mass., but my resident address is 59 Chippy Lane, Methuen, Massachusetts.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from councilors? Councilor Rodriguez.
Well, thank you for being here, both.
Thank you for having us.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I always love the presentation from the library. And when it comes to little money, we have a huge presentation, and we love that. So I hope that you guys keep it the same way, because we love every time that the previous administrator come over. They come over here and tell us all. We don't have to ask questions at all, and they just have a great presentation. And we were all the time, we would keep on telling all the departments, hey, look at the presentation of the library for $3,000, what they say, what they did, and what. And you know, it's not bragging about them, but I mean, I think that it's great to have that type of presentation. You guys did great today, and being the first time here for $3,000 grant is not much, but it is awesome. I always love this program. I use this program myself with my family. I go there and, hey, do you have tickets? Yes. And I know that everybody is allowed to use the program like once a month for different tickets that allow them to get discount at the door. It is a great program. I love it, and I hope that the community take advantage of it, because I also know that if people from Lawrence do not use them, the other community can come over and take advantage of it. And that's the case sometimes.
Absolutely.
So if you guys, make sure that you have a flyer to share on social media and share it with us. I'm pretty sure that every single councilor will share it with the constituents to make sure to expand the word as of what we have available.
Thank you, Councilman Ruiz. And I also want to share that, like you explained, sometimes we come here and we do an elaborate presentation because it is a small amount. But the truth is, this is also a platform to spread the news and the availability and the tools that we have. And I think it's also important to say that information in Spanish, so if you don't mind. Estamos aquí pidiendo que el council nos reciba a nosotros para unos pases cultural que le da al público la posibilidad de visitar museos, el acuario y también el zoológico para las familias, especialmente ahora en el verano cuando están buscando actividades que hacer. La librería está aquí para recibir el público y ojalá esta información les serviría como una forma de entregarse a la ciudad y posiblemente ir a la librería, conocernos, y también tenemos nuestro pases cultural a través de tener su carta de librería, y estamos disponibles en la librería para que vengan a llenar su aplicación.
Si puede dar el número de telefónico.
El 978-620-3601 es mi número directo de la oficina. Se puede comunicar con nosotros para cualquier pregunta que tienes y a través de nuestro website, lawrencefreelibrary.com.
Say the phone number in English as well.
Sí, 978-620-3601. That's my direct number at the library. And of course, we also have our website available.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes. Thank you for coming, and nice meeting you guys. So it's my first time to see you. Yeah. So at least how many students, how many children will be, getting like the passes? It's for 40, maybe 40 people, 40 children, the family. So
So you're speaking of in regards to the quantity that we've had them use, or how many people are available to use those passes?
Yes.
So if you don't
How
mind,
many
I'm gonna
passes
bring
do
my
you,
assistant
yes, how many passes do you get?
How many passes do you have per family?
Yes.
So on a monthly basis, a family of four, one ticket allows four. And if it's to the aquarium, it's half a price. If it's to the zoo, it's, I believe, $9 per person. And then I think a child 6 and under goes free with the pass. For the USS Coach, the USS Institute, the USS Constitution Pass, we get 2 for free, and we purchase 3. As well as the DCR passes, we get 2 for free, and we purchase 2 others. And the DCR passes are good for all the parks in the state of Massachusetts. So for free parking, it's used for like parking, for reduced admission into the park, of course, with your Massachusetts residence ID card.
So by the family, they have to pay something?
So the family does have to pay for some passes. Some are free, and we allow those are the ones that they have reduced admission. Those are constantly used, and they are very, very heavily used in the library.
So, but they are allow, any family is allowed like a monthly basis to get passes to go to the zoo, to go to the park, or whatever the place that.
Yes, so if a family wants to go to the zoo this month, they're able to go this month, but they wouldn't be able to go to the aquarium this month. They would have to wait for next month to go to the aquarium. So it's one pass per month per family. Yes, but still eligible for the same amount of people.
Okay.
I think the CR passes, I think, are 6 to 8 in a family that can go in with reduced admission.
Any follow-up,
Thank
Council
you.
Levy? Thank you. We get to motions. I'll just say thank you so much for coming here. I'll echo the words of Councilor Rodriguez, and I'll go further to say that I hope to continue seeing different grants coming in to our committee from the library. One of the things that I always commended previous leadership at the library is that they went above and beyond looking for different grant opportunities and bringing in resources into the public library. So I hope that continues. Councilors, is there a motion?
Motion to send it to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Rodriguez to send to the full council with favorable recommendation. There's been a second by Councilor Levy. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We move on to item 169-22, proposed budget by Mayor Brian A. De Pena. Councilors, you this year at 6:30 p.m. So it'd be Tuesday. If a Wednesday, June 8th, as a date that we would have, we would leave open in case we need it. The clerk has said that we cannot use June 9th, so there will be the change in the letter that I sent to you all would be that we would be removing Thursday, June 9th. I just kind of want to open that for to see if there's any comments on that. So we do have a special meeting on Tuesday, but we still have to have the budget session because if we basically if we skip a day, then we would not have a date available in case there's somebody's missing or for example, one of the things that occurred last year is that we wanted more information than what the presenter was able to give to us. So we actually scheduled them for a separate date. So if we don't have that, that sort of, that space available, we run the risk of basically trying to squish everything in. So that being said, Counselor, so there'll be tomorrow. We'll make sure to do a public notice and make sure that the rest of the city knows what the hearing will be. Councilors, if there's no questions, is there a motion to table?
Motion to table?
There's been a motion to table. Councilor Levy has been seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion passes. We move on to item 173-22, ARPA funding around education. Is put on by myself. Councilors, the reason this item was put on was to try to get more information around the ARPA funding that the school has, that we approved a year ago to give to Lawrence Public Schools. Are there any comments, questions, or motions? Can there be a motion to send correspondence to the superintendent's office to on 173-22 to
So move.
give, thank you, to give us information and to be present at our next meeting to discuss.
So move.
So motion's been made.
Second.
It's been seconded by, made by Councilor Rodriguez, been seconded by Councilor Levy. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 The ayes have it. Councilors, there was a motion a while back to, for item 201-20 that we sent, real estate non-utilization tax on vacant and abandoned property citywide. We have Director Armano here to speak on that. Is there a motion to take item 201-20 out of table matters?
So move.
Is there a second? Motion's been made by Councilor Levy, seconded by Councilor De Rosario. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Director Armano, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Essentially, we sent this motion up. It was put on in 2020. We wanted to get more information on it so that way the committee can decide if they wish to have more conversations, maybe not today, maybe at some other point, or to withdraw the motion.
Thank you, councilors. Mike Amano, Director of Inspectional Services. So when it comes to abandoned properties and pre-foreclosure properties, we do have an ordinance in the books. There's many parties involved. I'm just one of them. The fire chief, the chief assessor, of course, the mayor's office are all part of the team that would work on these initiatives. At this point, this particular matter, like you said, Council, was brought a few years ago to consider doing a tax increase, a vacancy tax increase for vacant properties, or non-utilization tax, as they also call it. This isn't something that the administration is pushing forward at this point, nor am I, but I just wanted to present some information where it was on your agenda. So basically, the purpose of these taxes, of course, are to reduce vacant properties in the city. And vacant properties can cause blight in the community. With more vacant properties, there's, of course, less housing. There's community risk reduction by taking away vacant properties. They can often be an attractive nuisance for children. They can be a safety risk for fires. And, of course, the more vacant properties that have blight that we take away, we can uplift our neighborhoods. So by definition, vacant properties, they can be anything from a property that's not occupied for 6 months. It could be a property that's neglected with graffiti or trash. Many different communities define vacant properties, and I think we have a rather wide scope in our definition in our ordinance. With these type of programs, there's often exceptions, and this is where it gets very complicated and would often take a little bit of thought whether this is right for our community. Permits under renovation, sometimes an exemption. Certain properties like single or two-family properties, properties that are actively being sold or actively being rented, sometimes vacant properties that abut owners' land. Nonprofits have been brought up as an exemption. new owners who are intending to occupy, and owners who have development plans. These are all many reasons not to tax these vacant properties, and many communities use different things. The alternative to this proposal from a few years ago, of course, is to have an aggressive enforcement program and education program, which our ordinance does provide. Currently, we have in the ordinance that we inspect vacant properties, abandoned properties, pre-foreclosures on a quarterly basis. It's a joint effort with the Fire Department Inspectional Services. And of course, the other option is to have partnerships with economic development. So when we're talking vacant properties, it's not just your abandoned property, but it could be a vacant storefront. It could be a residential home that's not rented, single-family home, all different shapes and sizes. So to partner up with the community, something that Mayor Brian DePena is very passionate about, is bringing business and supporting small business. These are ways also to bring business and avoid these types of taxes.
Thank you, Director Armato. Are there any questions? Councilor Levy?
There is a list of all of the abandoned property that we have in the city.
There's, the list that is out there is, that we have in Inspectional Services is, it's driven by people who register their abandoned properties and their pre-foreclosures. So a lot of the properties on the list are properties that banks are actively foreclosing on. It's definitely not an all-inclusive list. There's many ways to do this. We're working with a technology company that does cross-filtering that would allow us to look at things like the water usage and the pre-foreclosure, in the foreclosure notices, as well as some other factors, even things like code enforcement, police complaints, fire complaints, just to cross-filter and try to target which properties might be neglected, and then we would look at an investigation.
So it is possible that we as a council can get a list on the property?
Yeah, it's very easy. I could easily provide this. It's not comprehensive. I don't want to mislead you and think this is all the properties. To give you an example, I think the current list is about, I want to say maybe 60 properties on it, but we expect that there's probably many more vacant properties, again, depending on how you define what a vacant property is.
So when we talk about property, are we talking about not just only like a building, but also the empty lot?
It could be an empty lot, yep, with no building, or it could be a abandoned building, or again, just a vacancy in that building.
Because what I'm asking is, like some of the lots that are vacant, there is, I know that the city is spending a lot of money, because most of them nobody taking care of that, but the city has to take care of all of the trash and all of the dumping that people are doing over there. So something that should be done with all of those principal the lot. I remember that at one time we said that we're gonna ask the owners, if we know who is the owner, just to put a fence that people cannot dump them, trash in those empty labs. So I don't know, but something has to be done by the inspectional service, with the police or whoever, who is in charge. So that way maybe they can alleviate a little bit, all of this trash that we have in the city. We need to put a fine, we have to go behind them, we have to do whatever that's the ordinance say regarding those people who do not taking care of their property.
Yeah, it's a great point, Councilor. Right now, you should know that Mayor DePena is very aggressive with trash in the city.
Yes.
We're exploring both utilizing DPW and inspectional services to make sure that people aren't illegally dumping. We want to crack down on that. Of course, there's some properties that people just abandon completely, and the city at some point may even take over some of those properties. But we have brought back the real property task force and the abandoned property task force. We started meeting again under the leadership of Brian DePena, the mayor, and more to come on that, but we're heading in a great direction, and it's something that's, I know, is important to this administration.
Inclusive of the river. So a few days ago, I showed the mayor, all of the dumps, the trash that is being on one side of the river, and there is no way for people to go over there, just only the house that is practically making, a line with the river. So we're gonna clean, so that is what I have, so the city is gonna clean, but we're gonna start watching those people because they are only a family that can be doing all of this in there.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful, of course, being in my Department of Inspectional Services, grateful that you've brought this issue up and that we're exploring all options.
And you can
that we
see,
have.
I don't know if you remember, all of that, the gas tank that we picked it out not too long ago,
Yes.
more than a 50 tank,
Yep.
right in there, that were trashy on the river. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Levy. So Councilor, I think, yeah, my thoughts on this is that there is a cost to having a vacant lot. There is cost on the neighborhood, there's a cost on our own services. I am one that thinks that I would like to explore this more. If there is an interest in this council to explore it, from what we've heard from the administration, is that essentially, not that they're against this, but that this is not something that they're prioritizing. At least this potential solution is not something that they're prioritizing. I think in order, if you have a vacant lot, if you have a property and you are not doing anything with that, I think that there's more that needs to be done than just that education piece. I will say there's a lot of lots in Lawrence that are vacant. My first term, I remember finding a few of them and trying to make sure that they were listed, which they weren't. So I think that this is something that could potentially help with that and ensure that whether the vacant lot is, there's no property in it, or the vacant lot is some type of building that something can be done, that the individuals that own it are actually doing something with it and are not just holding it for a day when prices are higher than what they are now. So if there is an interest, our next step would be to send correspondence to the city attorney and get them to write the home rule petition. If there isn't an interest within the council, then the next step would be to make a motion to withdraw.
I'll make a motion to send it to that city attorney to draft the home rule petition, and we can discuss that at the full council, and then eventually the mayor will have an opportunity to either sign or send it over, or just keep it here.
There's a motion to send correspondence to the city attorney's office to draft a home rule petition. Is there a second?
Second,
It's been seconded by Councilor Levy. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
It's unanimous. The ayes have it. That being said, thank you so much, Director Armano. I hope you have a good evening. Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much.
your service.
You too.
Director and Assistant Director, you guys don't have to stay. I mean, we're ending, but you guys don't have to stay throughout once
They
you're.
have to come to the next full committee.
Yeah. So you don't have to stay at this meeting, but definitely at our next city council meeting, please be present, just in case any questions come up. I'm sorry. So it's going to be due. So city council meetings are the first and third Tuesday of every month.
Make sure they request to waive in the 30
Director
days.
Rodriguez? I mean, Director Rodriguez. Councilor Rodriguez, you're a director at your job, so. Director Ianello, is there an item on the agenda that you, no? Councilors, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
No,
Oh,
there is an item that is,
okay. Councilor Rodriguez, do you remove your motion?
I'll withdraw my motion.
All right, so there is a motion to take an item out of tabled matters by Councilor Levy.
yes, I would like to take item 35519 out of table.
So there is a motion to take item 35519 out of tabled matters. Is there a second? Second. It's been second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Councilor Levy.
Yes, I just submitted the item 35519 on 2019 and request a salary increase from 2.5 to 3. So I would like to change this from 3 to 5% to all city employees that make less than $50,000 per year. So at this point, Mr. Chair, so I would like to send a correspondent just to update this information, but also to request an update anyway for the all employee that gets less than 50,000 a year. And last time we sent it to Director Bonet. We send it to Mark Gianello. We send this information to Raquel Urbano, the city attorney, and also to the personnel director. So please, I would like to get your support and to send it again that the new information.
Yeah, so Council Levy, just to be clear on the motion, you would like to send correspondence to all those individuals that you mentioned, and the correspondent is asking what? Is it for them to give you information?
Or give it the information, give it an update, and also
What's the information that you're looking
the-
for?
that this can be done. Information that the people who are non-union, because this is a non-union,
Hold on, so.
all
so-
employees
so,
are
let's wait on
non-union
Council Levy.
employee, non-union employee.
Wait, one moment, folks, let's just go in order, right? So, Councilor Levy, so you have a motion to change salary increases between what? What was the number again?
Or was 2.5 to 3.
Yep, and now it'll
Because of
be,
the increase of the life right now and everything, I would like to change it from 3 to 5%.
okay, so, Councilor Levy is, asking for a motion. So first, she would like to amend, 35519 to say salary increases between 3 to 5% to all city employees that make less than 50,000 a year. So we'll first deal with
Non-union.
That should be,
so Councilor Rodriguez is asking for a friendly amendment to Councilor Levy, to say it's all city employees that are non-union that make less than 50,000
No,
a
this
year.
is part of this. That was
Yeah,
non-union.
Perfect. So
Okay.
the item right now is salary increases between 3 to 5% to all city employees that make less than 50,000 a year and are non-union. There's a motion to amend that. Is there a second?
Yes, there's-
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Now, Councilor Levy, you'd like to make a motion to send correspondence and to those individuals, and I'll ask for a second and then discussion. Is there a second? Okay, so second by Councilor De Rosario, discussion. Councilor De Rosario.
I'm all set. I was gonna offer the friendly amendment of the non-union part, which says all employees.
This is part of the non-union, yes.
Thank you, Councilor Rosario. Councilor Rodriguez.
Well, I think that, Councilor Levy, just as an advice, I think that the first correspondence should be going to the mayor, because he's the only person in the city that can allow expenditures. So if there is going to be an expenditure on this matter, should go to the mayor, and the mayor should say, yes, we're going to proceed with this increasement. Otherwise, any department could tell you, yes, it can be done. But if the mayor's not allocating the funds, and then nobody can say it will be done. So my recommendation is to send correspondence separate than the other department to the mayor, and that way they can work on
Okay,
that.
so we should
So-
get the
so, hold on.
send the correspondent to the other department and also to the mayor.
So, Councilor Levy, my suggestion is that you just send correspondence to the mayor. Because I don't think, if the mayor says no, then, it just doesn't matter, right? If the mayor says yes, then everything else will move. So I think your correspondence should be to the mayor. Now, the question is that we're currently dealing with a budget right now, right? Where I can't clearly say whether all non-union city employees making less than 50,000 are getting that increase or not. I think it'd be, if they're not, I think it'd be difficult getting the mayor to making an amendment to his already written budget, but you can ask that. So would you like to just send it to the mayor or send it to everybody on your list?
I would like to send it to the mayor, But also because we need not data on the information of the employee that we have.
So separate correspondences.
Yes, it's
Okay.
a separate correspondent to send it.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Rodriguez.
So essentially, you would like to know how many employees are making less than 50,000, that are non-union, and all the details as of who this is going to benefit.
Exactly.
And then eventually, another correspondence to the mayor, whether or not this could be done and when.
Yes.
And if the mayor is willing to do it, when he might be able to do it. This year in the current season, I mean, on the budget that we're discussing for fiscal year 2023, or perhaps next year,
For the
fiscal
next-
year 2024.
Exactly. Yes.
So, okay, so Councilor, the amendment to Councilor Levy's original motion is a motion to send correspondence to Director Ianello to find out who makes non-union city employees that make less than $50,000. There's also a motion to send correspondence to the mayor asking if the mayor would agree to making this salary increase, and if he does agree, what fiscal year would it occur, this year or
Next year.
the next fiscal year? I'm sorry, FY '23 or FY '24?
But also we need to send it to personal director because it's the person who got, the name in the list. And they were the one who sent it to me before.
Ianello, we'll get that, yeah. All right, so there's a motion made, is there a second? Second by Councilor Rodriguez, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it.
Motion to adjourn.
To adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
A motion to adjourn by Councilor De Rosario, seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you and have a good evening, everybody.